Okay, welcome everyone. This is our weekly webinar. I'm Kara Lyons. I am a coach in LuLaRoe. I'm in Massachusetts, and hopefully you are all here because you are on my team, so yay. And tonight I wanted to, first of all, I invited Megan Heald with me. I feel like I've known her for a while, except that I really only met her 2 days ago at training in Philly. So I wanted to have her on because she's just been awesome at building her business and growing her team in the past couple of months. And just being fresh from a training is always a great time. You have a lot on your mind to share. And this was, the topic we're going to discuss tonight was something I think they went over really well at the training. And it's just one of those things that it's been the dreaded drama triangle, and the empowerment dynamic is something that has been talked about at pretty much every single LuLaRoe training and event that I've been at. But it's something that sort of just never gets old, and we always need to be reminded of because as you'll see when we start talking about it, we all find ourselves slipping into all of these roles at different times and in different situations. So it's just a great reminder. And there's been a lot of stuff in LuLaRoe lately that has challenged us. So these are just great topics to go over and, remind ourselves of how we can be thinking so that we can always be succeeding. But first, I wanted to have Megan just introduce herself and just talk about her LuLaRoe story a little bit. I think it's great for people on the team to get to know each other. Maybe you'll, relate to something she says and, have a new buddy or someone you want to reach out to. So yeah, feel free to share.
Hi guys, I'm Megan. I am from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I started LuLaRoe about 5 months ago in December. I was so excited and kind of worried because I started right before the holidays and I was just kind of freaking out a little bit, but I have been loving every minute of it. There have been some bumps along the way, but nothing too crazy. My why, what we talked about at our training, was always start with your why. And my why at the beginning was just to get out of the house because I'm a stay-at-home mom. I've been a stay-at-home mom for about 3 years. And I was losing myself and I was losing me. And I felt like it was all Bubble Guppies and Paw Patrol and not much of me being a successful person. So I started this just to get out of the house a little bit, and that has helped a lot. But my why's changed. It's still, I still like getting out of the house. I still need that time to myself, but I've also started to build a team, and part of my why has been to be able to help other people become successful and have other people be able to fulfill what their why is, along with helping people feel good about themselves from the outside, having their outside match their inside when they put on these awesome clothes. So that's my why, kind of a bit about me.
Yeah, and you've just been like a real go-getter at it, I feel like. Megan's really active in her group. I think you became trainer in the queue really, really fast. And I'm sure that's because people, see that you're doing well and they want to be a part of that. So yeah, we're excited for her. So I am just going to, this is the first time I'm ever going to try screen sharing in Zoom. So let's hope that it goes as planned. All right. Okay. So can you guys see my screen? It's going to come up in a second, I think. All right, hold on. I think it's coming. All right, you guys see it now? Cool. Okay, so, all right. So what we're going to talk about, and some of you are going to be familiar with this either through LuLaRoe trainings or if you recently read The Power of TED. There is something, this diagram that we can use to really explain a lot of the emotions we have in many situations in life. It's called the dreaded drama triangle. There are 3 roles: the victim, the persecutor, and the rescuer. And I'm going to have Megan start by talking about victims, who victims are, and why you might see yourself as a victim in LuLaRoe.
Okay. So first off, I want to just say that if I would have come across this dreaded drama triangle and the empowerment perspective when I was actually working, I probably would still be working right now, unfortunately, but it would have helped me a lot. So anyway, the first little point of the triangle is a victim. Somebody who's a victim is going to be always somebody who is saying, why me? They feel like they're powerless. They feel like everything is happening to them. They blame other people for things that are happening to them. They're not able to make decisions. They can't solve problems on their own. They have that poor me, helpless and hopeless attitude. Some of the things that they might say, or some of the things that they might play the victim, would be having a shipment of all solid leggings or having no leggings. One of the things when I first started, I didn't have any leggings, and it was a little frustrating. I will admit that. Another thing that they might feel like they're being a victim is the long wait to onboard. 8 to 10 weeks, I guess it is now. It's, that can be a long time to wait. MAP pricing was a big thing when that first came out. Like, oh my gosh, we used to be able to charge whatever we wanted, and now they're telling us we have to charge at the high end. I can't believe that they're doing this to me. Another recent thing that we've talked about was the new policy on taxes. I know that's not something that really affects me very much being from Pennsylvania, but I know that I've seen other people be pretty upset about it. And, I can see why, but I hope that, moving forward after we talk about this, we can go from being the victim to moving forward later, and we'll talk about how we can move from being the victim about things and making things happen for our business.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I think the biggest thing and you said it, I'm just going to repeat it because it's so important, is that victims always feel like something is happening to them. So who or what is doing that is the persecutor. So the persecutor can be seen as the problem. It may or may not be a person. It could be a situation. If the persecutor is a perceived person, you might think of that person as being only interested in their own success. So it could be like you think that your sponsor or someone in your upline is doing something to only benefit herself, or you could see other consultants on other teams that you might think do things, so say you had those consultants who go out there and advertise on the buy-sell trade pages like, oh, come shop from me. I'm in Pennsylvania, or I'm in Massachusetts, shop with me tax-free. You could see that as them persecuting other consultants. You could see LuLaRoe as the persecutor. Those people, that warehouse, they keep sending me the solid leggings. LuLaRoe, why don't they, limit the amount of leggings people can order because, somebody else has 4,000 leggings. So there's a lot of, different persecutors in our lives, and, the victims are always going to feed off them and think that the persecutor is pushing them down and keeping them down. Rescuers, like victims, probably also blame persecutors for different matters, but rescuers have a strong, and you're going to all realize that you've been all of these roles at some point, especially as women. We are rescuers. We, really desire to feel needed and appreciated, and we want to make those problems go away and just keep the peace and, make everybody happy. It's natural. You feel, I think because we have that desire to nurture and, just take care of everybody. So who are the rescuers in these situations? Interestingly, I think that rescuers are also LuLaRoe sponsors or uplines and other consultants. There have certainly been cases where LuLaRoe, I feel, has gone above and beyond to, satisfy us and make a problem go away or just appease us when they, they give us birthday leggings, or they just announced at our recent training, a solution to the back order issue, and they're going to be giving us some extra items. And they're saying, you know what, guys, we just want you to be happy. So we're going to fix this, which is great in this instance. And, sponsors, very, very often sponsors and uplines are rescuers. We say, okay, I'll just call home office for that or, okay, I will, I'll just trade these items that you can't sell for you. I'll do these things so that you feel better. Similarly, other consultants, we are all there to help each other out, and that's great. But there are definitely times when we are rescuing instead of solving a problem. So this is your dreaded drama triangle. We are in it all the time. I think, we have all been all of these roles and transition in and out. We've all been victims, even when we feel like we've moved out of this and can see a situation from the other side. I think we often, slip back to victim, and it's okay to go have that pity party and be a victim. But I guess before we move on, let me see if I can, sorry, just because
one of the things, I did a little research on this because I'm kind of nervous, I just like to prepare. So one of the things that I found that stuck out the most was that a victim is going to seek out, if you are playing the victim or someone's playing the victim, they're going to seek out either a persecutor or a rescuer who may save the day. The persecutor is going to basically make the victim feel like, yeah, I'm being the victim, where the rescuer may fix the victim's problem, but it's going to perpetuate the victim's negative feelings in the long run. The victim's going to say, even if the problem gets fixed, the victim can still say, well, hey, I was right. They did do me wrong, and rescuer had to fix it for me.
Yeah. And I think that if a victim has a rescuer, they're always going to turn to that person, to fix that for them. Also, actually, and that just reminds me, a rescuer doesn't have to be a person. A rescuer could be an addiction. So, something that somebody turns to feel better and just make a problem go away. So similarly, they could, keep turning to their person or their anything else in their life that kind of makes those feelings go away. And then they're never really learning to solve it on their own. So I will unmute for just a minute and see if any of you have questions or want to add. I'm just going to ask that if you have background noise, if you have kids or animals around and you don't plan on asking a question, please just mute yourself, so that we don't have tons and tons of background noise. But so this is your time. So if anyone wants to jump in, please do not be shy. So any questions about this, or if you want to share, you want to talk about feeling like a victim, or if you see yourself as a rescuer too much?
I definitely think I'm a rescuer in a lot of situations at home and at work, and I feel like it's my comfort zone. I like to feel needed, and I like to, solve problems and make everyone feel happy and have harmony. So, when I was reading the book, I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, I'm always a rescuer. And it's been really eye-opening to me personally, to see this kind of come together.
Good.
I agree, especially even now with building my team, I can definitely see myself being the rescuer. If somebody asks me a question, I just, off the bat, I just answer it for them instead of giving them the tools to answer it themselves. And then while doing that, I become the victim myself saying, oh my gosh, why can't they just figure it out for themselves? I figured it out by myself, so why are they asking me? So I'm like playing both roles there. I'm not helping myself any. I'm making it worse for me by just fixing it for them. And then I get frustrated in itself anyway. So it's not helping the situation. But I will say that before I even read about this, knew about this, I probably would have continued just going on, in that same triangle, rescuing and then victiming and then rescuing and then victiming. Now that I know, I can stop myself and be like, hey, come on now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it together.
It's true. We can fall, yes, by being, that's a good, yeah, I like that. By rescuing, we can also make ourselves victims. Like, why am I always doing this? Like, yeah, absolutely. I guess I didn't even, and I mean this in just, I don't mean this in a bad way or anything, but I guess that, you just made me think of this, that somebody could think of their team as a persecutor. Like, why are they doing this to me? Why are they always asking me? So.
I think it's important as, you all move up in leadership too, is to identify before it happens. This is what we're becoming. This is who's falling into these roles, and how can I turn this around and make it positive one, and what you guys are leading into, which I'm not going to segue to, but realizing what's going on before it happens, and in turn that's actually strengthening you as a leader and your team as future leaders, because you don't want them to think they have to rescue their team all the time. You want them to see you as a creator or an independent business person who can make their own decisions and do not need their hands to be held in every decision, learning on their own, like Megan was saying, piggybacking on that idea. A lot of us had no idea what we were doing when we got started, and yeah, it is great to have leadership behind you and supporting you, but there's a big difference between supporting you and supporting your team, and also knowing when to let them fly. So yeah, I think definitely identifying who is who in the role, who is whom, however you say that, in the role, and avoiding the dreaded drama triangle.
Awesome. Perfect. So I think we can go ahead. All right, I'm just going to mute again and then unmute Megan. All right, so moving into the empowerment dynamic, you will see, first of all, that the victim, who is previously on the bottom of the triangle, has moved to be the creator, who is now at the top of the triangle. And we have what used to be the persecutor, we are now going to call a challenger, and who used to be the rescuer is now a coach. But those roles go away, and we focus on the new ones. And Megan, did I ask you to start on this one?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So instead of being the victim and saying, why is this happening to me? You're going to become the creator. Hey, buddy. And you are going to be someone who is outcome oriented, who can see the outcome and can figure out the steps to get to where they want to be. Somebody who says, I can do it, who's not saying, why is this happening to me? Somebody saying, this is what it is, and I'm going to do this and get to where I want to go. The coach is going to be somebody who's going to lead that creator or lead that person who's playing the victim role to a solution. They're not going to fix it. They're not going to come and rescue the day and save the day and do it for them. They're going to ask questions. They're going to listen, and they're going to guide that person to the outcome that they want. A coach is somebody who doesn't see someone as a victim. They don't see somebody as someone who can't do things on their own. A coach sees somebody as a person who can solve problems, who can make their own choices, and who can let that creator see the possibilities just by asking a few questions. They can help them focus on what they do want, not what they don't want.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think in this triangle, it's really in all of these. And so being when you're the creator and the coach, I think it's also really important to separate what you can change and what you can't change, and just and be aware of that and own it and embrace it. So, like when you're the creator, you're just going to have to accept that there are certain things out there that you can't change and figure out what you can create out of that. So rather than thinking of these, parties or, people as the persecutors, thinking of them as the challenger, would be, thinking of these things that are going to cause you to move into action, to grow and change in some way. So for example, LuLaRoe putting out the MAP pricing, if you're thinking of that in the victim role, as Megan said, you're thinking, why did they do this to my business? People aren't going to want to spend that money. No one's going to buy from me anymore. But if you can step on the other side and realize that, LuLaRoe was really challenging us at that point to get on the same page, to, drive out the people that, there were a lot of people underselling anyway, and we were complaining about those people. So, they were challenging to us to all get on the same playing field. But also, really, I'm valuing the work that we do. I mean, when you're selling online, you guys, it's a ton of work, days of work at a time, from the photographing, to the pulling and invoicing and posting all those photos and following up with people. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, So LuLaRoe was really challenging us to value the work that we do. And give us a pay raise because of that. I mean, we deserve that, I think. Another one that, and if she watches this replay ever, I hope that she won't mind, but I just thought of my sponsor's sponsor, Jillian Ortner. A lot of you guys are on her page, the Lioness Group. She comes down a lot on us and says that insert jobs are not allowed on this page. Now, you might think that, Jillian is, putting you down, okay, well, why won't she let me find this piece? I need this piece. This piece will help me run my business. It will make this customer happy. Why doesn't she want me to do that? She's, she doesn't understand or whatever. Instead, the reason she does that is because she's really challenging you to think like a retailer and, work with what you have, work with the inventory that you do have. Treat somebody, there are so many ways around searching for a piece. You can offer them something else. You can, give them free shipping. You can give them first dibs next time. There are other ways to make them happy and provide good customer service. So she's really challenging you to create something else out of that situation. So I think I might have lost the rest of my train of thought if there was one there. But, everything, all the circumstances that LuLaRoe puts out for us and the guidelines for running our business, are really meant to make us grow. And just thinking about that pricing situation again, something that Deanne said on Tuesday in Philly, she said, when Mark and I were, design this business and with all the, the changes that we make, we think about, LuLaRoe compared to other direct sales businesses, we are at about 90% active rate right now versus other businesses. I think it's much lower, maybe around 40 or 50%. What did they say? Do you remember?
4% for other direct sales. It was like 93% for LuLaRoe.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so she said, well, how can we, put our business plan together to keep people, have them have these like early on fast successes to keep them engaged so that they feel that success, because that's what keeps you moving, like really for that, first few months period. And then it just comes naturally ever after that. She said, well, people have to be making money or they're not going to want to do it. So, they want us to be paid well. So, that tax situation, they're challenging us all to step it up and, help our company, comply with the law. So I think that's, really important, when you're in these victim roles, to not think about things that are happening to you, but just accept that these things are happening, and that there's, always some opportunity to grow because of that. So I am going to unmute again so that people can.
One of the things I came across that was kind of the most that stuck out to me was, it says a leader is responsible for shifting focus from problems to outcomes. And when I think of a leader, I don't necessarily think of somebody who has a team under them. I think of somebody who is a leader in their business. And each person, each one of you has your own business. So you need to be a leader, and you need to, look at where you want your business to go and how you're going to get there. Not, what was me? I have all solid leggings, or I think I have 7 pairs of leggings left, one size leggings left over, and they're ugly. Like, you know what? Oh, well, it's not about leggings. I have a wine fest I'm going to. Am I going to take the leggings? Sure. If I sell them, great. If not, I've got dresses, I've got Lolas, I've got everything else. I don't want my business to be just about leggings. I don't want my business to be about people, I have to have this certain pair of leggings and that certain pair of leggings. Okay, well, if I have it, great. If not, that's not what I want my business to be. I have an idea of what I want it to be. And, the way I do it is not the way everybody else does it. And that's another thing too. We all have the opportunity to run things the way we want to run it. And the way I do it is not the best way, I'm sure, for everyone else. It's just the way I do it.
Yeah, and I just want to repeat something that Megan said that's really important. Just want you guys to hear it again. Being a coach or a leader is not only applying to people that have teams. You are a coach to your customers. You are a coach to the other people on our other consultants that are we're all working on the same team. They don't have to be under you.
Brenda, get out of there.
You're a coach to your family. You can be a coach to yourself.
Going on up there.
The way you think. So, all right. So, if anyone would like to share or ask questions, now is a great time.
I think it's never too early in your career with LuLaRoe to start thinking like a creator, a challenger, and a coach, rather than the dreaded drama triangle. So if you're aiming to, join leadership, one of the things that sticks out to me from the New York training that Kenny said is don't act like a leader, or don't think about the leader you're going to be. Start being the leader today, and start leading by example. And I think, not just girls that are in your downline, but, sometimes girls in your upline need checked, and they need to be reminded to follow, this triangle rather than the other. And I think the more that, I tend to say that negativity spreads like wildfire, but so does positivity. So I think it's
in the Inspire tours. I mean, exactly. Like it's so contagious.
It is contagious. And I think when you have that mentality, it's magnetic and people want to be around you. And, I think people are attracted to that positive outlook on life, on business, on clothing. They want to be around you when you're happy and when you're thinking positively and thinking about not necessarily like, woe is me, but okay, I'm going to take lemons and turn it into lemonade or whatever.
I think that's why our team rocks. I mean, because there's so many positive people.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, I mean, I wanted to do this training, but honestly, when I see some of the stuff that is posted in other like larger team groups, I'm so thankful and so grateful and happy that I feel like we don't have as much of that on our team. And I thank the girls that I'm working with, all of you for just always setting that example.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. I just
on Tuesday.
one tiny little simple question today in a team page, and it turned into kind of a drama-filled thing. And it was not necessary. It was just a simple question. I wanted a simple answer, and it just seemed to turn into this victim, woe is me thing. And I didn't want to perpetuate it, but I really wanted to say, look, if you're on Facebook crying about this, that, or the other thing that happened 3 weeks ago or 3 months ago or 6 months ago, you're not working your business. And that is somebody who's a creator, somebody who's not, on Facebook and perpetuating the negativity, getting on there to do your business and then, move on.
Yeah, I think one of the things I said the other day, and honestly, like I didn't think about it when I typed it, but if you have time to get mad, then you need to get busy, because you should be working on your business, not worried about what everyone else is whining about, because they're whining, they're wasting time when they could be making money.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that actually brings us to the last slide. Well, there's only 3 slides. And we've been talking about, so how do you move into these roles?
Hope is my sponsor. Hope's sponsor is Chelsea, and Chelsea's sponsor is her, Kara.
Somebody is just telling their husband who we're talking about, right? Introducing everybody here. Okay, so how do we get, from being a victim to being a creator? These first 2 bullet points, I think, are just things that there are things that I have heard so many times in LuLaRoe, but there's a reason that like Kenny and Art and, Deanne, they say these things over and over again because they are just so true. And when you can like wrap your head around it and embrace it, this is just how we create this culture and how we all, thrive. And you know what? It sounds like we're drinking the Kool-Aid. It sounds cheesy, but, I can think of like more than one person that actually came out of Inspire to our trainings recently that said, you know what? I thought it was a lot of Kool-Aid and it's not, or pass me that Kool-Aid because I want some of that, So one of the, key points is always seeking to understand, and just, thinking about, okay, so the other person or, the circumstance in the situation, let me step back and, try to see another side of this. Assuming innocence, kind of along the same thing. So rather than jump to conclusions about why another consultant is doing something that is against policy and procedures, or rather assuming that you think, some policy that LuLaRoe put out is just, out to get us and out to, demolish our business. Assuming that there's some other reason behind it. And, if we approach it with kindness and, try to understand the other side, that there's probably going to be a much better outcome. And as we've been saying, just taking these situations and saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to have my pity party. You can have your pity party for, just have it for a couple minutes and that's enough. Then it's time to move on and, make some lemonade. And, in these situations, this is when you, if you are feeling down, that's when you call up. You can call up your sponsor or someone in your upline and, have that little vent session for a little bit. And that's, that's it. That's when that person should be challenging you to, or coaching you to move on. I think Megan,
About time, brush your teeth.
some of these points about, being a coach instead
Brush
of
your
a
teeth.
rescuer. So I'll let you repeat those because I really like them.
Don't brush your teeth.
One of the first things you obviously need to do as a coach is
Webinar.
listening. You're not able to.
I'm just going to mute everyone else and then I'll unmute you.
If you're not listening, you're not able to really hear what the problem is, and then you don't know exactly what questions to ask that person. One of the biggest things that I have gotten from my sponsor, Teresa, is, just massive, massive, massive encouragement. I will be the first to admit I was a victim, and I probably will still fall into that role, from now until when I'm done LuLaRoe. Who knows when that will be, but just to have that encouragement from her has helped me to realize, I don't have to be the victim anymore. And then, the last thing is empowering, your victim, your creator, to make them feel like they have the power to make decisions, to create outcomes, to change the way that they're doing their business or change the way they're living their life.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And the last bullet point I have up here is something else that we hear all the time at LuLaRoe events. And it's, kind of related to this. They always tell us, watch one, do one, teach one. So the more that you practice this on your own, you can, I know that, so like watch one, you can think of that like so early on when I first started as a fashion consultant and I, didn't really know much of what was going on and didn't really have these ideals or understand. I just watched what my sponsor and hers were doing, and they just always seemed to have this positive attitude and like take power mentality over things. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do that. And then now here I am trying to teach others to do that too. So I think that the more you practice, others are going to want to follow what you do, and then naturally you'll be teaching them. And this, again, you don't have to have a team. You are teaching yourself to do this over and over again as well. And you're probably teaching other people that you don't even realize that you are teaching. I'm going to just unmute again for anyone else who has questions or wants to share, being in these roles, how it, anything you want to share about, I don't know, how you feel or just what you thought of this or anything.
I think it's important to remember, I'm sorry I keep talking, but I think
I like someone to talk.
It's important to remember that there's a lot of people watching you. And it's not just your team. It's not just your downline or your upline or the coaches or Deanne and Mark. And they're watching too. Home office is watching you. But I try to roll it all up to my kids. I want my kids to see a hardworking, positive, powerful woman who knows what she's doing most of the time, but also learns from making mistakes. And we're all going to continue to make mistakes. Like Megan said, I know what Megan's capable of. So that's why I encourage her and that's why I push her. She's been incredible from day one. She's a rock star and I tell her that time, but we all fall into that, victim mentality. Megan, I hope you don't get mad about this, but Megan actually turned into a creator and a challenger to other girls. I have a group conversation with my first 10 directs, and she said, hey, turn this around. I forget what we were talking about. And then literally a half hour later, she started complaining to me about something, and I just copied what she wrote and sent it to her, and she was like, okay, I got it. So you can so quickly switch roles, but I think that's what's important is you need to try to we're all going to have those mistakes and those moments where we need to reach out to somebody, and that person is your sponsor. And as a sponsor, you need to be always, leading by example, but just ready to flip the switch on us. stop thinking why me and start thinking this way. Start thinking, what can I do to make it? That's my last thing.
It's freeing, really. I mean, I think like for me, when I, whenever I go back over this or read the book, it is so freeing to realize, okay, like I don't have to be the victim, and I have these abilities, and I have these responsibilities, and I can, make something out of that and help other people and help myself. And it's work, but it is so much better than sitting there and being the victim, honestly. So whether it's in LuLaRoe or, other examples in your life, I'm sure this is, just endless, the way it is with your family, if you have a full-time job, situations with your friends. I'm sure we all have those friends who are our persecutors, right? Or anything. So
I think that just knowing about the triangles has helped me, just in the last couple of days, because before, I didn't know, I knew that the way I was acting was a little, crazy, but now that I know what it is and what I should be doing, it kind of helps me snap out of that so much faster. I haven't read the book yet, and I kind of can't wait to, although I still haven't read that. I remembered what it was. It's the You Are a Badass book.
I have it. I need to read it. I keep thinking we should have a team like book club, like, right? We all read the book and then we have a meeting like this with Zoom, and we can just all chat. So
yeah, that would be great.
It's on my goal. So it's on my list of things to do. If you guys are done, let's see if I can get out of the screen sharing. Probably don't need that anymore. How do I get out? Okay, I don't really know how to get out of this, so I'm just going to wait until we stop recording. All right, so thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate getting on here last minute today too. And I, hope that you got something out of it. Thank you, Megan. It's awesome. I love the extra research that you did, and, the points that you brought to the table. And yeah, of course, anytime, feel free to ask questions and, just share about this in our group. We all really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah. Thanks, Meg.
Yeah. Later.
Good job, Meg.
Thanks.
Megan.
All right, I did it. Weird.
Look at this Irma. We're not recording.